This is the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. Hockey is more than a game, it's a lifestyle. It's you, the diehard supportive fans, your favorite players who are on the team you cheer for and the organization who supports them.
The companies that make your gear, bags, and beer league sweaters. The hockey moms and hockey dads and everything else that makes this House of Hockey your home. Come on in. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae Rae.
And this is our house. You are listening to the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. I am one of your hosts, Breezy.
And I'm your other host, Rae Rae.
And this is episode 34. And I feel like this should be a lucky number 34 because we have the best guest that we could possibly ask for this episode. We have the one and only Carly Zucker.
Yes, she is, if you're not familiar with her, she is the first wife of NHL star player Jason Zucker. She's hilarious. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's talented. I mean, you are going to love hearing everything she has to say about her experience being married to a professional hockey player.
Yeah, we cover all the bases, pun intended, on her life and being a hockey wife, being a radio host. She does, give us some stories about Jason. She also gives us, she gave us so much and we laughed. We became instant friends and it was so much fun to talk to her and we're excited for you to hear it.
Yeah. You and her have a club together with jackets. I refuse to participate.
That's okay.
Why?
That's okay.
My aunt makes a very bold appearance.
She does.
So you'll hear a very interesting interruption about a quarter of the way into the interview.
And if I feel like even if you've never watched one of our episodes on YouTube, you never have to watch any of our episodes on YouTube, but you should watch this one because you can see it go down. And that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. We can't spill the beans on anything else. So
no. Why don't we get to our two segments?
Shut the front door.
Here is what I am needing to shut the front door on, is that body checking in the Ontario Hockey League has been banned for the upcoming season to, quote, prevent the spread of COVID-19. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it has nothing to do with COVID-19. They're trying to ban hitting, fighting, and all this shit in hockey. No. How are they supposed to play hockey without body checking? That is like something that happens every 2 seconds on the ice. What are they going to get, a penalty? You're going to get 2 minutes? The whole fucking game is going to be penalties. How do you call body checking? How do you ban that? I don't even understand. Like, this is a physical contact sport. How is that supposed to happen? Explain this.
I don't know.
I don't know how you can make this call. And then on top of it, this is going to screw the players for when they get out of this league and try to go play. Now you want to unlearn and unteach everything these players have already learned and practiced their entire fucking life. You're going to make them stop doing this. But then what happens in a year from now? Let's say somebody gets drafted to the NHL. Well, they've just spent an entire season not body checking, and then they're going to get their ass handed to them into the boards as soon as they get into another league. This is dumb. I don't agree with this. I don't support this. If you're afraid of COVID-19, don't play a season then. If that is your fear, don't play. But don't blame the virus for wanting to change the game of hockey. That's it.
Mic drop. In my case, it was a pin drop, but still.
That is what I am shutting the front door on.
I got to agree with you. I think it's pretty bogus. I think that there are some players that is their sole role is to body check. I think that there are more ways that you could get COVID that does, regardless if you're body checking or not. I mean, there's maybe someone wants to freaking Brad Marsh on someone and like someone in the face. Who knows? But the only thing I could say is maybe, just maybe, because players in the NHL are, I'm going to say more professional, just because at this point they are more professional along in their career. They know how to maybe body check properly, or do things at a level where it's more safe than the OHL level. So maybe they're trying to prevent injuries along with COVID on a level of they don't maybe know how to do it as proper as someone in the NHL level. But then I feel like I'm just making excuses for them, which I don't want to do. But that's the only logical reason that I could make out of it. But it's still not very logical.
Well, then you know what? Teach them how to properly body fucking check and let them check correctly. And if they don't, then give them 2 minutes in the box.
Coming from Ms. Kopchek herself.
Yeah, but you can't blame the virus.
No.
I
think the virus is a scapegoat. It's a scapegoat for everything now.
Because here's the thing. We did an entire bubble playoff hockey with body checking and nobody got the virus. So figure your shit out. Figure out a different rule. I guarantee you we're going to have more cases of the virus in the OHL. Not that I'm wishing the virus on anybody, but I guarantee you body checking is not the solution to not getting the virus. Not playing hockey, if you're not going to bubble or put in some kind of restrictions to keep people safe, isn't gonna, like, it's not gonna matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't, that's not the reason why people are getting the virus. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but it just disgusts me. I'm disgusted. Just disgusted.
You're just disgusted.
Don't mess with hockey. Don't mess with my sport. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Body checking is fine. Leave it alone.
Breezy's BBQ Kit. I have some friends coming over today. My pork belly burnt ends are an absolute hit with everybody. They just fall apart in your mouth and they are delicious. So I am making pork belly burnt ends with a seasoning called Eruption based off of my one of my favorite new Instagram chefs. His name is Sasquatch Barbecue. Guy's so funny, so good. He does all his cooking outdoors. He came up with his own seasonings from my favorite seasoning spot called Spiceology. It is smoky, it is savory, a little bit of sweetness. It's delicious. You add some honey on top of it with some barbecue sauce, and you get sticky and ooey and gooey. And it's basically barbecue candy.
Yummy.
And that's what we're doing.
That's what you're cooking up, huh?
Yeah, and then I also had a request to do more bacon-wrapped Oreos, but I didn't want to do Oreos, so I'm doing bacon-wrapped Nutter Butters because that sounds bomb.
I would love that. I love Nutter Butters more than Oreos.
Fun fact, my nickname is Nutter Butter.
Why?
Because people call me Nut. I don't know why. They always say, hey, Nut, but they call me B-Nut. You know, B-Nut. I just kind of grew up with the name B-Nut, and then they shortened it to Nut, and then my sister calls me Nutter Butter because I love peanut butter. I don't know. No one needs to call me Nutter Butter because that's just kind of weird. But I don't know why. I just admitted that. It's kind of embarrassing, but whatever.
No, it's not Nutter Butter. It's fine.
Oh, Jesus.
See, it sounds weird. It sounds weird. It
does sound weird. Anyway, but bacon wrapped Nutter Butters sounds bomb. I'm going to do it. I'll take some photos. Maybe we could share it later this week.
Just another big thank you to Carly Zucker for taking the time to join us here on the House of Hockey and enjoy the episode. Share it with all your friends. Go show Carly some love. She's badass.
She is. And if you can go support their Give 16, it is a fantastic thing that they're doing. She describes in a lot of detail how it started, what they're doing, everything that they've been able to accomplish, and it's really cool. And I don't think she was able to, if I remember correctly, I don't think she was able to give out their handle. So I'm letting you know now. Go check out Give 16. It's an incredible thing that they're doing.
Our podcast is proud to be on the Hockey Podcast Network, and the network is home to many other incredible podcasts, including this one.
Hello, hockey fans. My name is Nick Berlansky, host of the Tip of the Iceberg podcast here on the Hockey Podcast Network. My co-host, Nick Horwat, and I talk all things Pittsburgh Penguins, from top news to game analysis and other unconventional hockey talk. We've got you covered.
A team in the playoffs or in the play-in round won the first overall pick, and I wanted to throw my phone clear across this plane.
Nope. He will.
Yeah, see, there's your
He
hot
will.
take. Got it.
That's my hot take. He will be a Hockey Hall of Famer, if not possibly first ballot Hall of Famer. That was just awful officiating. And who was this scrub that was officiating? Let me look it up real quick. Mark Rashe, something like that. Oh, Recchi.
I just wanted to see him booming it from blue line to blue line, being the lines. That's all I wanted to see.
Very few general managers have those type of players, let alone 3 players that you can easily say, if I don't trade them, my team will be better. So all I have to do is not make a move. And I get that's a foreign concept for Jim Rutherford, but you just don't do it. Don't do it.
You don't do that.
New episodes every Monday. Tune in at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from. And let's go Pens.
This week's guest you may have heard on KFAN FM 100.3, the sports leader in Minneapolis, St. Paul. You may follow her on social media. She's very popular there. Or you might have seen her at Xcel Energy Center cheering on her husband. Welcome to the House of Hockey, Carly Zucker.
Hi, you nailed it.
Good.
I told you, Zucker like hooker. You got it.
I was like, hooker.
Good,
And then I was like, but it's not hooker.
Like,
it's not
hooker. That's not it. That's not it.
That's not it. So for those of you who may not know, Carly is married to Jason, and he is in the NHL. He's formerly a longtime member of the Minnesota Wild, and he is now a Pittsburgh Penguin. Mm-hmm. So how is this all going? How where are you? Are you still in Minnesota? Are you keeping that life? Going to do a little bit of both during whenever this regular season starts, or?
Yeah, Pittsburgh will definitely become home during the season for sure. We obviously want to be there, want to be around the team, the extended family of the team. I think that's really important. So we'll spend as much time. Jason will spend 100% of his time during the season, but myself and the kids will try to spend a majority of the season there as well. But we do have a 10-year-old who is in 5th grade. And she has a ton of activities here. So we also want to make sure that she has a kind of a quote unquote like normal life and that we're not bouncing her around. It's a little harder when they're older. So we'll be in Minnesota. I mean, we love Minnesota. I grew up here. So that will also be home. So yeah, we'll kind of bounce around, but I mean, we love both places. We couldn't have landed in a better place than Pittsburgh.
Oh, for sure. Everything we've heard about Pittsburgh is like, it's all very family oriented and everything like that. So welcoming city, welcoming to fans, that whole sort of vibe. Yeah.
It was. Oh my gosh. Right when we got traded, when the first time I arrived, everybody from the people that were greeting me, like, when I got to the hotel to see Jason, because he was living in a hotel at the time, were fabulous. They were so kind. Fans were incredible. In Minnesota, I don't know if you know much about our sports, but we have not won a championship in a very, very long time, like record-setting amount of time that we haven't won championships. So we're all a little jaded here, and we all are very pessimistic when it comes to sports. Pittsburgh isn't that way because they have some championships under their belt. So you go there and they're just all happy and they're all optimistic. Like any year could be our year. I'm like, this is so refreshing and wonderful. So that was a really easy transition, and the people were great. Fans are awesome there, and the team is phenomenal. The organization is great.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Go ahead, Breezy. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, what were the emotions? I mean, you guys, you are from Minnesota. Jason's been there for so long. What kind of emotions did you and the family have finding out that he was traded to the Penguins?
Well, it was weird a little bit because we had been here for a lot longer than I even thought. At the time, Jason had played, I believe, 8 seasons here. It was in his 8th season. I had been around for 6 of those. And a lot of us had been there together in the organization for a really long time. So a lot of us were very, very close, especially the wives or girlfriends. That piece of it was hard. But I laugh a little bit because the Pittsburgh media, I read, there was an article that was sent to me that was like, not everybody's happy he's been traded. Like Carly is so mad because her job is there and her daughter's there and she can't move. And it was completely the opposite. Like in this job, as many jobs are, you have to embrace that change. And we always said from the moment we were together, like, we'll figure it out. You could be in a way worse situation. Like, you know, they make it very accommodating to go to a new city, and it's being in any NHL organization isn't a horrible thing. So we never looked at it as this really tough, like horrible situation to be traded. It was a new opportunity. And they had talked about Jason being traded for years. I mean, it was constantly brought up. And he was always the one on the trading block from the moment I met him. And so it was something we had always talked about. I had always just hoped we'd get to an established relationship before he was traded, if that makes sense. Because I couldn't, with having Sophia, who's now 10, was 4 at the time, I couldn't just pick her up and move her anywhere. So I was kind of, in my head, I was really hopeful that I'd get the years to establish a relationship with him. We did. It was wonderful. So when the Pittsburgh trade happened, it was sad to leave your friends in the organization because you don't really even get to say goodbye to the people who work in the organization that you see at every game. That was a hard situation, but really the trade itself is never, it shouldn't be a negative thing. We tried to look at it as a great fresh start.
Right. I mean, I feel like, I see your point, definitely. I think that's like the best way to look at it. I think a lot of fans think it's like the end of the world when players get traded, at least for themselves. And I think, I mean, even when I think about it, I'm like, gosh, I feel like the family probably feels devastated after like kind of an uproot, but it's good to hear that you guys were able or are able to kind of make both ends work, and to kind of hear that everyone else kind of does the same thing. So that's super refreshing.
I always think too, it gives you another team to cheer for. Like if you get attached to a player, we've had a lot of friends who are like, okay, now I'm kind of a Pittsburgh fan. So it's like, now your chances of winning a championship are increasing. Like I'll always be a Minnesota fan from growing up here. So I have 2 teams to cheer for.
It's good to have.
Yeah. Increase your odds for championship. So I'm like, Jason, maybe get traded like 10 more times. And at some point we'll have somebody to cheer for. So that's why I'm looking at it.
I think that's what Breezy does, because she's a fan of 3 teams. I'm only a fan of 1 because I'm not allowed, being from Chicago. Like you're only allowed.
Oh, you're Blackhawks.
Yeah, like that's it.
Okay, that's my daughter's like arch nemesis team. She has something against the Blackhawks. I don't even know really where she got it.
Why? Who put false thoughts in her mind?
Sophia is very against the Blackhawks. I will tell you that. But
well, her and I will have to chat, and I will change her mind about this.
You can influence her. Yeah, Breezy, what are your teams?
Well, I grew up in LA, so an LA fan. Nashville is my favorite city. My favorite player plays for Nashville. I grew up a Toronto Maple Leafs fan as well. But recently, my favorite King was traded to the Vancouver Canucks, and then they did really well this past season. So, like, I was like, wow, I guess I'm a Canucks fan. And then he just got traded to the Canadiens, and I'm like, oh, God, this is too much.
Look at how many teams. See, you're on the plan. You're on the multiple team, like, support plan.
Right, exactly.
You can start a group.
We should get jackets.
Yeah. Those cool denim jackets that the girls wear. We'll get those.
Yeah. And just have like every team logo, just that we're fun.
Yeah.
Keep adding patches. Like
a Girl Scout or something.
Yeah.
I'll be alone on an island. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh my God. So then what would you say from your perspective, being a wife of an NHL player, what is like one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about like the wives and the girlfriends in that space? There's these TV shows like the NBA Wives or WAGs and like all of that. And I don't know that that's really an accurate reflection of what it's really like. And I really hope it's different in the NHL because I just think everybody in the NHL is a little more relaxed. But well, I would love to hear your...
I showed up today. I mean, I can't speak for every league or every woman or to each their own, but I would say those shows are way more glamorous than life is. Like 90% of our lives is like yoga pants, cleaning, like dishes, or, it's just normal stuff. Like day to day is really, really normal. It's really fun to go to games. Like games are great. We get to like dress up a little bit and take the kids, and I don't have to cook dinner because they usually have food. And I'm like, this is the best night ever. And like mama gets wine. So, like that's awesome. But it's definitely, to me is never as glamorous as it is on the shows. I don't think, but I do know that the NBA and the NFL are totally different worlds too. So, I can only speak to the NHL, but I feel like it's very down to earth. The girls, what I think a misconception is too, is that the girls themselves don't have a lot going on, or that they don't have their own interests, their own education, their own jobs. Like, so, when you're in media, it's like people know, okay, Carly's working, but a lot of the women that I know maybe don't have a public job, have degrees, have great educations, are maybe if they're stay-at-home moms, they are incredible at that role. So, to me, it seems like there's this idea that everything is very glamorous. It's really easy. Like that, they, I don't know, whatever it is, but they spend the whole day at the spa. I don't know, but everything is super, super normal. I think the life would be like way more boring than anybody would ever think. So maybe it's boring. Like the misconception is that it's really glamorous and fun. And then like day to day is probably way more boring than anyone would think, which is fine.
Definitely. I mean, why not?
Boring is good.
Boring is good. It's nice to be able to have kind of that separation, because I feel like you probably could make it somewhat glamorous if you go on like road games and maybe if you get to travel with the team, but being able to kind of not like humble, I guess humble is the wrong word, but maybe the right word, where it's just like, no, this is just who we are. This is just it.
Yeah. And with road game, we hardly ever traveled when I was in the Wild organization with the team. I think I only went on 2 road trips, but we had 42 kids on the team among all the players. So if we went on the road trips, it was not to watch the games. It was mostly like nap time. It was like, we all get to sleep. Did we even make it to the game? If they didn't, they were probably sleeping. So yeah. So not very glamorous, but it was like, we're just going to flow around the road.
Yeah. You know what would be cool though, is if, you know how every team does like a dad's trip or a mom's trip, like if they did a wives trip and you guys just got to go ham. I feel like that'd be so much fun.
From your lips to the GM ears, my friend. Let's do it. We would love that.
I don't think it'd just be so much fun.
We always get called a distraction. And so they're probably like, if they come, they're going to be a distraction. I'm like, we're a distraction all the time, no matter what.
You're like, I'm going to be at the bar down the street. Are you kidding me?
We're napping. I'll be busy. If he's distracted, that's on him. I have plans. Breezy's meeting me in LA. Like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
You're in a club.
Exactly.
You guys are in a club. You have a club meeting.
We have jackets made already.
I'm bringing the jacket, so I'm busy. Don't worry about me. I'm not a distraction.
Oh my God. How did you feel about that comment? The distraction comment. You sort of just said it, but.
You hear it a lot. I got it a lot.
Well, women get that like all the time.
Oh, right. Whether you're like an athlete's wife or not, I think just that's something that like a partner or women get a lot of times, that you're going to be a negative distraction, where I feel like for Jason and I, we try to look at each other as like a real positive. Like he makes me a more motivated, better person. That's how you hope it will be. And I mean, everything obviously isn't perfect all the time, but you hope to find a partner who elevates you and who motivates you. And I feel that way about Jason. And I really hope he feels the same way about me, that instead of being this negative distraction, you hope you find a partner who really helps you reach the next level of success, whatever that looks like. And so I have never thought that either of us is a distraction to the other. We try to complement each other. When his season is off, he really dedicates like time to let me focus on my career. And that's super important. And then when he's in season, that's the priority. And so I feel like we've found a really good balance, but we also motivate each other. So yes, I mean, the distraction thing, it's silly. I mean, like you said, women are just kind of always look like that, because I think like, we have boobs. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, they're going to distract a guy. Watch out.
I mean, isn't it? I think you could even make the argument that it would have been more beneficial even to have, like, based on what you just said with the support, like to not like, maybe let's just talk about like the bubble life, like not having these support systems that maybe players and people are just used to regardless. When you take away whatever that support system is, a wife, a girlfriend, parents, family, that could be seen as a negative, you know, like not like that could be worse, I'm trying to say, than opposed to like a distraction. It could really maybe have helped some people, you know?
Right. And I think Corey Perry was a great example of that in Dallas, because when the playoffs were happening and I believe his wife arrived in to watch the playoffs, he excelled and had some of his best games and was scoring like crazy. And so they don't correlate. And so like someone should do a study on that. Are women truly distractions? Like scientific discovery on that. Someone should invest. But I think it's an easy out, honestly. I think it's just an easy scapegoat for someone to go to and say like, okay, well, we're playing bad. Oh, they must be distracted. Hide the boobs. Hide the vaginas. They are distracted. The men are distracted.
Oh my God.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Grow up. Yeah. Focus on your job, boys.
I have to say, you and Jason, from what I have read and watched on your social media when you drag him on there to like answer questions on Insta. And even when I was interviewing him at the NHL Awards in 2019, you were so fucking funny. You like, I was like, I love her. I need to be friends with her. She's hysterical. They're like bantering with each other.
Do you have any other fun fan stories that you want to share? Anything super weird or strange?
I don't know. None I can think of off the top of my head. But
people aren't ringing your doorbell?
No. Typically not. In Minnesota,
Tell a fun story. Yeah.
Come, you can tell a fun story. You can tell a fun story.
You tell a fun story.
Ooh, you're going to get it later for that.
Yeah, geez.
Well, she always yells at me. And
just registered my hotel room. Thank you.
See, that was fun. We got it. That was the fun moment. We're good. Hopefully people know that was fun.
Yeah.
But, you never know.
Yeah.
I just think that's so refreshing. I really think it's like what TV sitcoms today are trying to emulate, but like you guys live the funny in real life. Like, have you guys been bantering about anything lately? Like
Jason would be telling you right now, like, don't encourage her. That's what, if my mom's over a lot. She's like, if she laughs at anything, Jason's like, don't encourage her. But, so that's what he would be saying right now. I mean, we constantly are, we laugh a lot. And I mean, in any relationship with our kids, with like my sibling, I mean, like humor is just a really big part of our lives. And I think that helps when things get really tough and you can laugh about things, and things get tough when no matter what your job is, it doesn't matter how much you're paid, things can be really tough. And so I think you have to find a way to find humor in things and enjoy it. And I also think I'm a big believer too, like you're given this one, I know it sounds silly, but like you're given this one life. And if you're not enjoying it, you're just wasting like such a huge opportunity. So we laugh a lot. He's secretly funny. Like he does not seem funny, but he's secretly funny.
I don't remember what it was. I think it was, you did something and you were like interviewing him and you're like, why is it that you act like you've never scored a goal before? Like you just go balls to the wall. And he's like, it's fun. That was it. Just, it's fun.
NHL Network asked if I would interview him for a show they were doing called Skates Out. And of course I was like, yes, I would love that opportunity to interview him in a formal setting because that would be hysterical. And all of them celebrate their goals, no matter if they have 500 goals in the league or the first goal in like when you score in the NHL. Yeah. They celebrate as if it is the greatest moment in the history. I mean, we had 2 children together and he was more stoic than his like 100th goal in the league. And so I think it's hysterical. And yeah, I mean, he just is like, it's so great to score a goal. He hugs his teammates deeply and their emotional moments on the ice are more than I ever see. Like I told him, I thought he would be super excited when we're having a boy. Of course, like stereotypical. I was like, he's going to be so excited we're having a boy. Yay, like my womb made a boy, great. Like, look at me, success. So I was like, okay, I'm going to surprise him, get some shoes. He loves shoes. So I was like, I'll get little boy shoes and I'll give them to him and he's going to cry and be joyous. And so I get my camera out and I'm like right in his face. Like show me the emotion. I'm like, on cue. I'm like, lights, camera, like show me the emotion. And he was like, oh, cool. I'm like, let's try this again. Lights, camera, more emotion. And he's so stoic. But then when he scores a goal, it's as if he had triplets and they all entered the NHL draft together and were drafted over number 1, 2, and 3 overall. It's unbelievable. And so yeah, I make fun of him for that. So yeah, so I get to have a lot of fun with him. And he's a really good sport because I'm really hard on him on the radio, on Twitter, everywhere. And he's a really good sport.
Okay, you have to explain to everybody why, if they follow you on social media and don't know the backstory, why you say his first wife, like you're his first wife. I think it's hilarious. But
yeah, so I am 6-ish years older than Jason. And so when we met, he was 22 and I was 28 and I had a 4-year-old. So to me, it was never going to happen. I was like, this isn't happening. I always thought I'd end up with someone older and like distinguished. And he probably has like other children and we're going to live this beautiful life. And then I met a 22-year-old professional athlete who was up and down from the AHL to the NHL, no stability. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I can't love him. I was like, this is not my future. I was like, I was going to marry like a 60-year-old. I was like, this isn't it. And so it totally threw me. And he was the greatest human I still, to this day, have ever met. Like everything about him. The only fault he has is that he is too perfect. And I say that in all honesty, that he is the greatest human. And so I laughed. I was like, I always tease him, like, wait till like I'm going to be he's going to put me in an assisted living facility. He's going to marry someone who's 23 and like, she's fresh out of college. I'm like, your next life is going to be so great. She won't nag you. Like, you're going to golf anytime you want. like, your next life is going to be great. So I tease him about that all the time. And it really started just because of our age gap. And I just always tease him about that. And that, he acts way older than I do. He's definitely more mature. Like, he would be a way better interview because he would keep it together.
No, you're so fun. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
she's like crawling on the floor.
That's my aunt. What are you doing? That's my aunt. What are you doing?
I'm getting more wine.
She needs more wine.
But I love her.
Yeah, Breezy.
Yep, this is Breezy and Carly.
Auntie.
Come say hi.
Oh, no.
Say hello to me, please.
Wait a minute. I'm on the floor.
All on the floor.
So
she took her makeup off and she doesn't like to.
Well, you just.
I like your nails, and you have an empty glass of wine.
I know.
You gotta fill that up.
That is tragic.
I know, it's very tragic.
Yeah, definitely don't worry about being on camera. Like, you need to do that. That's
I
important.
have no pants on.
She doesn't.
It's okay. That's fine. We don't see anything.
You can't see your pants, I don't
Okay,
think.
good. I was
Our
crawling on the
conversation
floor.
today, we're all cool. Like, we don't, it's, hey.
Okay. Well, I
It's
was
okay.
crawling on the floor so you wouldn't see me.
I'm wearing camo pants, so I'm not wearing pants either. You're good.
Yeah, we can't
Okay,
even
good.
see her. Yeah, Breezy's pants are just, she doesn't even, we don't even know if she has pants on.
I
They're
know.
camo.
Breezy, do you have pants on?
They're
You
camo.
don't know.
They're camo. They're invisible.
Oh, they're invisible. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get
Oh my
wine.
gosh, you're so cute.
Go ahead. Is
this
the most ridiculous interview you've ever done,
This
Carly?
is the greatest interview I've ever done. I love
Look,
that.
It's real life. I don't know what else to say.
to get to the wine.
Yeah.
If this doesn't make the interview, I'm not even gonna promote it. I'm gonna be like, what? I didn't do that. Like, that
I
wasn't
will
me.
leave this in because
Yeah, that has to be left in.
my aunt is, down here getting.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
going
there she
back
is.
upstairs.
Oh wait, that is a good pour. Oh my
It's a good
goodness.
pour.
You have just you've inspired me. I'm gonna put away my kombucha and I'm going to get wine after this.
Good girl. Good
Yeah.
girl. Bye-bye.
Bye, sweetie.
Can I see my butt?
I think so, yeah, but I'm trying to block you.
That's okay. I love her.
I love her too.
Oh, that's incredible.
That was amazing.
So I'm like,
Oh,
what
man.
the fuck? I see like there's something on the floor. I mean, there's like, I thought it was the dog.
I was gonna ignore it. I'm like, okay, it's your show. Like, I won't call it out. Maybe this happens every show. Maybe someone like army crawls across the floor just because like they need to
No.
cross paths to the room. I don't know. I wasn't gonna bring it up.
No, I'm visiting my aunt. She lives here in Maine because of the pandemic and everything. I got out of LA, and so I'm here with her. And like, we can work wherever.
She's amazing.
Baby Jesus. Did not think that was how today was going to go, but nothing.
That just made my day.
was epic. I know.
Oh my god, I love it. Oh,
She's a
man.
hoot. She's got a whole other story. That's a story for another day. She was a Playboy model. She was Spider Woman. Like, yeah.
She was Spider Woman?
Yeah, she traveled the country as Spider Woman and like was a mime. She was a model, like the works. Yeah, she lived at the mansion for like 3 years.
so she's like, this is child's play. Crawling across the floor to get wine was
nothing.
That was just like a Monday at the Playboy Mansion.
Exactly. So true story. Anyway, I don't even remember what we were talking about.
I love this. I don't either. That was
let's keep it on the fun track and
we are derailing, but that's fine. That's fine.
Let's talk about Halloween. And
Okay,
I have so many. Okay, first of all, I have a lot of questions about this. Why are hockey players so synonymous with Halloween? And then 2, what are the Halloween parties really like? And the best costumes you've ever seen. And this is my favorite time of year, looking at social media and seeing what all the hockey players' costumes are because they're epic.
And she was so concerned last week when we talked. She goes, are they going to do Halloween? Please tell me it's not canceled. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they're going to do something.
We don't have any team stuff this year, obviously, because none of us are really together, but the team Halloween parties are always like the most fun. Like, team parties are just a blast because it's just you guys. Like, you don't have to worry, you're not going out somewhere. You typically either at someone's house or you're renting a private space. So you're really just with each other. And so it feels like you can be the guys can be a little bit more free and they don't have to worry about how they're coming off. And I think that that's part of it. And I don't know where it started that like the costumes got so elaborate and everybody, but it's that competitive nature though too. Like the guys are like, okay, who can come up with the best costume? Like, so, I mean, I've seen a couple really good ones. Pominville's, do you remember Jason Pominville?
Yeah.
He played here, played for Buffalo also, or Minnesota, and then played in Buffalo. They would dress up as an old couple, but not just like as simple. They would come in looking like they came out of a nursing home. It was to a T. Like if you would have seen them on the street, they could have passed for a 70-year-old couple, probably old 80-year-old couple. And they would stay in character the whole night. And that's the great thing though about the parties, is that a lot of people will stay in character the whole night. And so it's hysterical. Like Jason and I did the brothers, I can't remember their name, from the hockey movie, Slapshot.
Oh, the Hanson brothers.
The Hanson brothers, thank you. So we were the Hanson brothers, but we brought a blow-up doll as our third brother. We stayed in character the whole night with the blow-up doll. And I mean, it's hysterical. It's so much fun. And then the Parisi's are secretly, they're very private, obviously. And I mean, not to spill their dirt, but they're so good at Halloween. Like Alicia is one of the funniest people ever. And they were bathroom attendants one year, and they stayed in character outside the bathrooms the entire night. So they sat at a table outside of the bathrooms in the club we were at that we had rented, and they were doing like the mints, the towels. They were bathroom attendants the entire night, which is so brilliant. And so, I mean, that's the type of thing that makes it so fun, is that a lot of people will do something but stay in character. Yes. And so that's the brilliance of it. And they are as much fun as you would think. They're so much fun, and everybody has a blast, and it's just a good time. It's so funny. And yeah, it's the competitive nature, I think.
What did you guys do? What did you dress up as last year? Was it the Slapshot?
I want to say last year, I think, was the Slapshot. The year we did, one year I was pregnant. You guys, I don't know, you might be too young for this, but do you remember the Kool-Aid Man? Mm-hmm. And he would like break through the bricks. Yeah. So I was the Kool-Aid Man because I had the stomach, and then Jason was like the wall. And so all night he was doing like through the brick through him. And then Sophia held a sign. We took a picture and she held a sign. She was like, "What's Kool-Aid?" Because nobody buys Kool-Aid anymore. So, I was like, it was really funny. But yeah, so stuff like that. So we've done those two things. I can't remember what else we've done. But
I love it. I love it. I love Halloween. I love seeing the costumes. I love being in character when I do get to dress up. Like I stay in character. One year I went long time ago when Paris Hilton got arrested, and I had brown hair. So I wore like a bleach blonde wig and a jailbird outfit, and I put Paris Hilton on the back. And I met this group of people. I had a little stuffed dog, like she had the Chihuahua. And I was like, "Free Paris, like I'm Paris." I stayed in character all night, and I met a bunch of people I had never met before. I saw them like a couple of weeks later with Sans wig. And I was like, "Hey, it's so great to see you." And they were like, "I'm sorry, have we met?" And I'm like, "Free Paris." So they were like, "Oh, that's you." Yeah.
There's something a little freeing about just being in character, and like you can just lean on that for some fun. And it's a blast. I'm gonna miss it this year, but we did a family thing this year, so it's kind of fun.
Good. Yeah. Now, is that what you were? Okay, you just posted that you did some photo shoot about A League of Their Own, and that your grandmother was actually a member of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
that's incredible. Yeah. Are you kidding me? That's so cool.
It gets even cooler. So she was a catcher, and A League of Their Own based Dottie's career off of grandma. So their catching career aligns. There was a real Dottie who so they kind of like meshed a few stories, but her catching career, and you know how she leaves at the end of that season for family, that my grandma did the same thing. So they kept all that story aligned. And then Dottie had a sister, so they brought that in. And so super cool. Yeah. So we grew up like knowing all about this. And she went to Cooperstown when they opened it and did that big reveal. And my dad went with her. So it's my dad's mom. And so she passed away in 2007 or 8. And she was incredible. She was a better bowler and basketball player than she was a baseball player. And she was like a phenomenal baseball player. So she would consistently bowl like 300s for in bowling. And she's amazing. She was such an athlete. She was incredible. Yeah, there's a lot of story behind her, but that would be a totally different podcast. But yeah, she's really cool. We're really proud of her. And I want my kids never got to meet her. So it was really special for us to like tell that story and watch the movie and have them go out and do the shoot. So yeah, so I got them all costumes and we went out to a baseball field in Minnesota, and I had one of my friends who's a phenomenal photographer. He took pictures and it was really special.
That is so cool.
I was like, I tried to put the costume on, you guys, and it wouldn't button over my boobs. So I was like, either this league is going to be a really inappropriate league with my children. We're not doing that. It's going to be like a different kind. And the skirt was so short. I was like, what kind of costume is this for ladies? I was like, this is definitely like a league of their own, like strip club style.
Hooker style.
I was not wearing that.
Hooker style, yeah.
I told Jason, I was like, you're going to be the adult in the photos. You get to be the coach. I'm not in this. And so I got to just hang out, which was really fun.
You would have been like all the way May when she was like, I could quote that whole movie where she was like, but what happens if my bosoms just come flying out? Like that was you.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, family photos, a nipple. Like,
Yeah.
hello. Yeah. So
I would venture to say that maybe that is what they call a distraction.
yes, that. Good call. That's the distraction.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one and only time. Oh my God, that's so funny. Or an ant crawling half naked on the floor is also a giant distraction.
I can't believe that. She has inspired me. I'm having a glass of wine before.
Oh my God, you should. Did you even like grow up liking hockey? I mean, I know you're from Minnesota and everything, and that's like normal, but.
Yeah, my brother played. So my brother and Jason, super, super close. And my brother played. So I was, of course, and high school hockey is really big here. So I was very familiar with it because of that. And St. Cloud State is a school in St. Cloud, and we would go watch some of those games. So I was very familiar with it. But when I met Jason, I was doing more with like the Timberwolves, the NBA team. I was doing snowcross racing, so I was doing a lot of extreme sport coverage. So I wasn't familiar with, I knew the bigger names. You know, I knew Breezy and Suter had come back and signed, you know, big deals. And so I knew those older names and the bigger stars on the team. But when I met Jason, he had been injured. So when I met him out with a bunch of his friends, they said, oh, he plays for the Wild. But the Wild was playing on a TV in the bar. So we're like, that's a lie. Like, it's embarrassing that we just caught you guys lying because they're on the road playing away and he's here. So that doesn't make any sense. So we were like laughing at them behind their backs that they had said he was a player and whatever. So I really wasn't familiar with especially anybody that was new to the team. And so, yeah, I definitely had a familiarity with hockey and just kind of knowing sports in general. My dad was big into, Minnesota sports growing up. But I didn't know as much as I do now.
And how do you feel about it now? Like, do you love it? Or is it sort of like a different feel? Because we're fans and like it's different because we don't have somebody in our life who's playing. So we're not, is it a little bit different or how do you feel about it now?
It's a little strange because I'm still in the media world. So When I'm on the radio, I sometimes know information that I can't say. So if there's an injury on the team, typically a wife has told me what that injury is, but I keep all of that very confidential. Even if they don't tell me to, I inherently know, being a part of the organization, that that's not something they divulge. It's upper or lower body injury. Like they never tell you what the injury is. So there's things that I go in and I'm listening on the radio where like they talk about, oh, this person has an upper body injury. And I'm like, I know exactly when they're having surgery. I know exactly what the injury is. I know how long they're out, but I can't say any of that information because I just wouldn't. And obviously for Jason's sake, there's just confidentiality and I've never signed it. I don't have to sign anything, but I just know that I would never cross that line. So there's a bit of that overlap, like the professional and the personal, where I have a lot of information that would be breaking news information and that I would never ever say. So there's a bit of that overlap. So I mean, now I tread lightly sometimes. There's been a couple tweets where got a little bit of trouble, but nothing about anybody like personally with an injury or anything. Like that's a line I would never cross with someone. So that's kind of where I stand now. It's a little hard. They don't ever look to me to be a professional in hockey. They'll ask me a couple questions, maybe if it's about us and Pittsburgh or things like that, but they never look to me to be a resource because they know I can't cross that line.
No, that's not, no. That's gotta be hard too, to like.
Yeah. Or like even what goalie's playing that night. Like I will know, because Jason and I talk about everything. So I mean, he'll come back and he'll come home and he'll just be talking about the lineup for the night or what's happening. And someone will be talking about what it, like in a playoff situation, what goalie's starting, and being in media, I know how valuable that information can sometimes be, but I just can never say it. So it's it's an interesting balance, but one that I never thought I would be in, but so far so good.
Good. You still got a job there, so you're fine.
Yeah, so far so good. I still have a husband and I still have a job, so we're good. And he still has a job, so we're good.
So like when you go to the games, like let's go pretend that this is not coronavirus life. Like when you go and you bring the kids to a home game, what kind of fan are you? Are you the like crazy screaming, yelling, jumping up and down, so excited when he scores, or like seeing, or like when one of your like one of the other wives, husbands or girlfriends, boyfriends scores, you're like, ah, or is it more just like cool because you're like chill?
It's more buttoned up. Even if you want to cheer, I feel like the hockey. So we have a lot of friends in the NFL in Minnesota. So I've seen that. And the wives all wear blinged out jerseys and go like head to toe dressed up, and their kids are dressed up and everybody's in jerseys. And when we go, it's like, how can we not show that we are related to them in any way, shape, or form? Like, like normal clothes, you know, like what can we do to look incognito? Like, I want to sit in the stands and nobody know that I'm Jason's wife. But I think part of that too is that there's 82 games and like 41 home games. So for us to wear jerseys, and they have, I mean, usually 8 home games. So it's a little different. Like I've learned that they really dress up and celebrate those 8 games because there's only those. So again, like the world's a little bit different, but we are very like, oh, someone scored, you're like, oh no, that wasn't him. It was your pass. Like we are so classic, especially in Minnesota. Like we are so, like, it's so hard for us to celebrate that. It is truly, and hockey culture is a bit like that. Like you would never hear one of them be like, that goal was me. And like, nobody helped me. And it was like, it was my talent. Like I did that. They'll never do that. Where we're a little bit the same. So we're sitting there and it's like, if Jason scored, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that was a great pass by your boyfriend or husband. Like it's the only way he made that. And we're all very like sensitive to each other in those ways. And we just never really, we don't really celebrate that big on any of it. Playoffs is a bit different. Playoffs gets different. If you start winning and making it, farther in the playoffs, then you get a little more intense and you're like, wear your cool denim jacket that you get personalized. Like, I'm like, yeah.
Like, that's my guy.
Yeah, that's my man.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up like trying to blend in, because I'm going to bring up Vegas, because a lot of the wives and girlfriends in Vegas, I mean, it is Vegas, shining lights, but Jason is from Vegas. I mean, they go all out for the games. I mean, they're head to toe, blinged out like nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I do feel like it might be the culture of the organization too.
Yeah.
That every single organization has its own culture, from the players to the wives to the girlfriend. I mean, everything is a little bit different everywhere you go. Pittsburgh is a bit of a balance of what I came from, whereas the Wild, it was you do not overtly celebrate, you don't wear anything with their names. And Pittsburgh is a little bit of a balance of that, where I have great friends on England's are great friends of ours from Vegas, and obviously Hollis were there, and Carlson's wife. So I mean, we have a great group of people we know from Vegas, and they embrace every game and they love to get dressed up. And I think that's cool. Like It's kind of whatever. I'm always a big believer, like whatever you want to do that is fun, go for it. But Minnesota was definitely a more quiet culture.
Just good. I mean, I think everyone needs a different kind of culture, especially when you're going, in between cities, even as a fan, to be able to kind of be there and be like, oh, whose wife is in the audience now? I mean, I sat next to Andrzej Kopitar's wife, and I had no idea, other than the fact that she had red bottom shoes. And I was like, those are expensive. You have to be a wife.
You're like, I spot a handbag, some red soles and red flags. There we go. But you were also probably in LA, so that's probably more of people dress up more for things, I feel like, in those areas.
That is true. I always think it's a little weird when you see like someone wearing like a really like short dress and like high heels at a hockey game, and you're like, you realize it's kind of cold, right?
Where it's like, aren't you so uncomfortable?
It's like you're walking up and down the steps like you can't even walk, let alone walk and drink a beer at the same time.
Drink, and like fully enjoy yourself at this game. So we were definitely more casual in Minnesota for sure. But I loved that. That if I was there in leggings and a sweatshirt and sneakers, it was fine. And if I showed up in Louboutins, it was totally fine too. Like nobody really cared, which is great. And I know that does shift from team to team.
Well, tell us everything about Give 16 and getting the King Clancy Trophy, and you also got to present at the NHL Awards, and just tell everybody about the amazing work that you two do to really give back. I love this story, but tell everybody who doesn't know what you guys have done.
Yeah, Give 16 is something that as much as we can talk about it, we will talk about it. We met Tucker Hellstrom. You guys both know the story probably, but Tucker Hellstrom was a young boy when we met him. He was 8. When he passed away, he was 9. He was battling osteosarcoma, which is bone cancer, at a hospital in Minnesota, Masonic Children's Hospital. Jason, by chance, ended up meeting him during a team visit and came home and was telling me about him and showed me the shirt he gave him. And Jason had done these visits before, but never really come home and like spoken about someone individually. And so I thought, that's really cute. Like, what a great story. And we kind of moved on. And then a mutual friend had reached out to me and said that Tucker's leg had to be amputated. And so they said, could you give him something signed by Jason? And I said, if you could clear it with the family, what if Jason surprised him and brought it to him? And that ended up working out. And so we were the first people besides his family to see him after his leg was amputated, and which felt like a really great honor to me. I mean, you can't even imagine that for anyone, but for a young child whose life revolved around athletics at the time, it was devastating. And so when we walked in the door, it was one of those immediate connections. I mean, you guys, everybody has felt those before, whether it's like you meet someone and you're like, okay, we could be friends, or you meet someone and you're like, okay, like that's someone I could date, whatever it is, like you kind of feel that connection. We walked in that hospital room, and his family, who we call the A team, because it's this big group and their last name's Anderson and they're incredible. We met his mom and his dad and his stepdad and his siblings, his sisters. He has 2 sisters, and we just hit it off really quickly. And we had a daughter who was right about the same age as his 2 sisters. And so she would come and play with the girls while we would visit Tucker, and I would talk to his mom and the rest of the family while Jason would play video games with him. So that was how we developed that relationship. And whenever he was well enough, he would come to hockey games with us and go cheer, go sit on the bench and go to the locker room. And again, that relationship just grew. And then unfortunately, right before 4th of July in 2016, he passed away, which his mom was always so positive that we really had no idea that it was getting that bad, that the situation was that dire. So Jason had signed his contract that day, and for 2 more years at the Wild, which is a big deal for us because it was like a he couldn't go up and down. So it was a one-way contract. So we were like celebrating that. It was amazing. And his mom texted us and said, and I had gone back to Minnesota, and his mom texted and said, if you want to say goodbye, you should probably come now. And it's still so hard to talk about, because I remember getting that text and being like, no, that's no way that's happening. was like, this is just a moment. It'll be fine. But I talked to Jason, and Jason got on a red eye and came home like hours later. And we went the next day and saw him, and he passed away like 2 days later. And so that was a life-altering moment for both of us. But Jason's not affected by much. I was telling you guys before how stoic he is. He's not, he takes everything much like a pro athlete should, where it's like the good and bad are kind of equal. Like you just move forward. And that really sat with him. And Tucker had really affected him. So and the experience at the hospital. So our next step was, and sorry, this is such a long story. I'll try to shorten it up. But so we really wanted to create somebody at the hospital that would speak to Tucker's legacy and what that meant. And also we asked his mom for permission to speak about him. I mean, it's her son. So for us to go and speak about him publicly, we wanted to make sure she was okay with that, because it's her story to tell, and that's her son. And we wanted to make sure that we honored him in the right way and that she was okay with that. And so she said, yes, like we want his name said as much as possible. So if you guys have that platform, if people want to come to you and talk to you about him, then please, speak his name as much as you can. So we really took that seriously and said, like, what can we do then? And so we created Give 16, which was give in the form of 16, whatever that meant, $1.60, $16. And that became the epitome of every dollar counts, because I had kids coming up to me at hockey games and giving me $16 and saying, I just earned this with allowance. I want you to have it. And I would be blown away, like that I would just run into the mom would message me and be like, are you at the game? My son has $16 that he raised that he wants to give you. And I would find them and they would give it to me. And I was just blown away at how much that Tucker's story had impacted people to give back. And so we continued that. We built the Zucker broadcast, family broadcast suite and studio at the Masonic Children's Hospital. And so kids are able to go there and express some creativity and do TV shows and bingo and trivia. And it's a really, really fun space. And they can record end-of-life videos too. So it's a free place to record end-of-life videos if there's a child who wants to record something, or if parents want to record themselves reading books to their kids who can't leave the hospital, but the parents have to go back to work. I mean, there's a lot of complicated situations where they need this type of technology. And so also doctors give pamphlets to patients a lot, and they're like, read this. Now they're creating videos in our space for people to watch. That's a little bit easier for kids to comprehend. So there's a lot of uses for the space. We still raise money for Give 16. We've been able to do a lot of great things with it. We are also supporting Black Lives Matter and a lot of the racial injustice causes in the Twin Cities. LGBTQ plus, we support a lot of the causes here in the Twin Cities, because we just want to do what we can to make this community a little bit better. And we have the platform to do that and the resources to do that. And so I think it's important for us to use that in a positive way. So yeah, sorry, long answer, but that's it.
No, it's an incredible story, and it deserves the long answer and the time to, hear about him. And there's also, people can buy socks too, right?
Yeah. So the newest thing we did was a lot of the local partners we've had have just been incredible and generous. And Dana actually said, can we do a 3-way collaboration? So she created Team Tucker, which does a lot for, she brings, they call them like very important people, of course, VIPs, to the hospital so that they can visit people that they can't see otherwise. So a lot of people that come to Masonic, it's hard to understand, but like a lot of people that come are global, or that they come from all over the country. So it's not people just in Minnesota that get treated here. They come from everywhere. So you may not see your mom, your dad, your best friend for 6 months or a year. So Team Tucker helps people travel here and visit. So that's really cool. So she created Team Tucker. Hippie Feet employs homeless youth to get them back on their feet. And then obviously what we do with Give 16. So we collaborated to create these really cool socks. And Dana was the brainchild behind it, went to Hippie Feet, and we just said we'd love to be a part of it. And so people can buy socks, which great stocking stuffers for the holidays, and they're very affordable, and you can just go to hippiefeet.com and you can find them. And so, yeah, so thanks for bringing that up. It's a joy. I feel like we're so lucky to have the platform to do it. And it feels wasted to me if we don't. And so I think that it's really special to be able to do it. And again, to be able to honor Tucker and keep his memory alive is pretty incredible.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dang, I'm like moved by that. So that's crazy. Yeah.
He was a pretty cool kid. It's like, it's still hard to believe he's gone. Like Dana, the way Dana talks about him and she does interviews, and you feel like he's still here. Mm-hmm. And it's been 4 years, and you just like, you can't, that presence that he had, you just felt like he would, he would never be that bad that he would pass away. And then when it did, it was just like, what do you do next? And so we all kind of moved forward and said, like, what can we do to honor that legacy? And so it's hard. I mean, when they're young kids like that, it's just devastating.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people realize this, but it's cool to kind of bring it up. And it's like a complete stranger you can meet them once and then they become so important to you. And then they completely can change your life regardless of kind of what happens along the way. So it's always really cool to kind of hear those stories as well.
Yeah, and Dana always says, like, that Tucker, like Jason, the Zucker, she always says Zucker and Tucker. It's so cute. But she always says Jason was such a, like a hero to him and was such an influence to him. And Jason feels the exact same way. So it was just like by chance that we had this meeting that changed all of our lives. And unfortunately, it had the consequence that it did. But he also made such a huge impact on we hope, like the world, and especially in Minnesota. And that's super important too. And we don't want to forget about that.
I don't know how we get to our last 3 questions that are like the complete opposite of this.
Okay, no.
Serious.
So on KFAN, when we do this, there's no easy transition. We always say that. Like, we will bring up serious topics and then you just got a hard turn sometimes. Like, sometimes there's just no real great transition.
No, I was looking. I was trying.
Yeah, no, there's no transit. So we've found that you just do it.
All right.
Yeah, unapologetically just transition into the next one. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like,
all right. Well, we ask all of our guests these 3 questions, and I think you're going to be able to answer our third question very well. I'm very excited about this. Okay, so the first question. No, it's all fun. It's all fun. It's nothing bad. Who is your favorite hockey hunk?
Oh my God, that's a good question. My favorite hockey hunk? Besides Jason, or is he in there?
I mean, it's up to you.
Okay, he's in there. It has to be Jason. Of course.
Yeah, he doesn't count.
I would have never thought of anybody else.
Yeah. Okay, if you had to pick somebody else.
Okay, if I had to pick someone else. I know. Henrik, Lundqvist?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I feel like we're in like the same age range. He always looks very dapper. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, that would be it.
All right. And then
I had like a Rangers tank top that I still own. It's one of those like beaten up, like that you'll never get rid of. That's so ripped, and like you wear to bed and you're like, oh my God, so sexy. I'm like, yeah, but my goalie guy who's hot played there. Yeah, that's what I know. So yeah, him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite hockey lady?
Oh, Lexi Brown. This is okay. So like who I'm, Okay. Daniel Spurgeon. Do you know Jared Spurgeon at all? Do you know that name?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Jared Spurgeon is on the Wild, defenseman. We are so close. I love her. She's like a sister to me. So Danielle and I are super, super close. Lexi, I admire a lot. I think that she is unapologetic again for like who she is. I think that she speaks her mind. I think it's very hard to do in this world because you get a lot of flack for support. I mean, for being very vocal. Mm-hmm. And I think that she has walked that line beautifully of not walking it and just been completely supportive of her husband and just done a beautiful job of being smart and articulate and supporting all the things that we like to support. So I admire Lexi a lot. Danielle Spurgeon's like my sister. So yeah, those are my gals.
We've had almost everybody comment on having a Sidney Crosby story. So then we're like, all right, I guess we just got to throw it in here because they're always going to bring it up anyway. So rather than it just coming at us, we're just going to start asking it. So do you have a Sidney Crosby story?
Can I tell a Kathy story. So his
absolutely.
They're so private, which I think is a wonderful thing because I mean we're very much the opposite, and there are days where I just envy and think it's pretty awesome to be as private as they are. So I don't know if there's a lot about Kathy out there, but when I got to the team, she is the epitome of a captain's wife, and they're not married yet, but she floated around the room. She didn't even walk around. She floated around the room, greeting everybody, knew everybody's name, engaging everybody. I was sitting there like, what? Like, you are the CEO of Friendly Hockey Wives. Like, she was so kind. And I'm not just saying that. I wouldn't lie to you guys. I wouldn't even bring it up. Right. She was wonderful. And she spoke to everybody in the room. And not every room is like that. You know, and it's just, sometimes you go and you feel a little uneasy. She made everybody feel wonderfully welcome. She babysits for girls on the team. She doesn't have to do that. Like, girl doesn't need babysitting money, but she does. Babysits girl. Like, she will watch people's dogs. She will be the first person. Like, can I drop something off for you? I'm like, you're not Uber Eats. Like, you don't need this extra side gig, girl. But she just generously gives her time to everybody on the team in various ways. No questions asked, just does it. And so as much as Sydney seems great, and I've had little interaction with him, just we weren't in Pittsburgh very long before COVID hit. Jason thinks he's wonderful, but I haven't had a lot of personal interaction with him, so I don't really have a Sydney story, but she was everything you could have hoped for in like a captain's wife. I was like, and she was just so down to earth. I'm pretty sure she was in Sports Illustrated. Don't quote me on that, but I think she was.
Oh.
I think you might be right. Something to that effect.
98% sure I'm right. But she's so I mean, she's just the entire package. And so I was just very impressed with her. And I thought that not only is she just, you know, everything you would think, beautiful and smart, but she was super kind and like genuinely kind without portraying anything on social media. I mean, she's just the most humble person, and her probably future husband is Sidney Crosby. Like, she could be anything, and she's dog sitting and babysitting, and
that's great.
So she's very impressive, and so that's my Sydney story is really Kathy's story, and I absolutely hate that I talked about her, but she's amazing. So,
well, I think amazing people deserve to be, you know, seen, because we hear always so much of the like troublemakers, if you will, in the world, and the people who make a lot of noise. And I think it's great to hear these really good stories about people and just show what an amazing sport and community this is, because that's what Breezy and I love so much about the hockey space, is the community of people, because it's really unlike a lot of communities and other professional sports. And what all the stories we've heard about Sydney are all amazing stories, like of him just being this incredible, giving, kind guy. And it's all good stories. And so it's something we have to ask everybody now. And we're not even, neither of us are Penguins fans, you know, so we're like, guys, we didn't do this on purpose.
Now can we be Penguins fans?
Now, yes, we are Penguins fans.
Added to your list.
Breezy's adding it.
Yes. Yeah. I have Minnesota and
crossing them off. No.
Yes. Yeah.
You two are going to have 31 logos on the back of your jacket. What the hell is it? What am I going to do with this?
Yeah. By the time we're done, we might be cheering for them all.
And you know what? That's fine, because
my second husband will hopefully play for a different
exactly.
Jason's second wife will be a Sports Illustrated model, hopefully. I mean, the future's bright, girls. The future's bright.
It is.
Sure is.
Well, we've taken enough of your time. We appreciate it.
Great.
Tell everybody where they can follow you, where they can listen to you, where they can get the socks, where they can give back. Give us all the things.
Yeah, I'll give you the rundown. So it's carly.zucker on Instagram. It's Carly Applin on Twitter. And KFAN, I actually have my own show on KFAN too that's on Fridays called Overtime. It's all about what people are doing in the community, kind of what we talked about. and how they're making it a better place. And we're trying to deep dive into tough conversations that we need to have. And so that's what Overtime is about. That's Friday nights. You can just podcast any of this on the iHeartRadio app. And so that's where you can find most of our stuff. And the Power Trip Morning Show is the other show that I do. And so Overtime or Power Trip Morning Show, you can find me there. And I'm really active on Instagram and Twitter. I usually get myself in trouble. So that's the fun one. Come visit me there. That's a good one.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You guys are awesome. This is fun.
Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.